Hi everyone. There really isn't a whole lot to go over today. As you can see, not much happened on the New York Stock Exchange. We are down 0.01%. Volume was lower than the day before, which overall, following yesterday's action, is very positive. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 0.12%. Volume was slightly higher the day before, still well below average. It's just no volume whatsoever out there. Still, like I said, following yesterday's action, positive. S&P 500, same thing. The Nasdaq and Russell 2000 continues its weakness, and volume was slightly higher on the Nasdaq. However, overall, it's I guess positive action because we didn't close below the low a day of yesterday, and the same thing with the Russell 2000. Even though it was great so far, we're still holding the open of yesterday's session. So far, so well. There isn't really a whole lot to go over tonight. Today was one of the most dead days I can think of. Anything that was available to day trade intraday just was not interesting to me whatsoever. I didn't even consider anything. Did like anything. The only thing that did work at one point was iCloud. At 3:01 p.m., it decided to break out a little over right around the 455 mark, and 30 minutes later, it managed to get up over 525. Obviously, profits would have been taken into that move. So iCloud turned out to be working really well, but I decided to go ahead and leave during that final hour. So that was the only thing moving intraday that set up based completely sideways and broke out and ran correctly. If you review the intraday charts, you can see it was just a picture perfect pattern, but I wasn't around. And besides that, end of day basis, there isn't much to do. There were just only a few stocks that stuck out. LLL, MCK was one, and I think it was nope. ECA was the other three. So these were the three ones that really stuck out. And as you can see, it isn't that exciting. They're all once again New York Stock Exchange names. So not too exciting, but hey, at least they're working. I do have one new long position tonight, and it's actually a very solid long position signal. ENI, it's a foreign utility that gives off a nice dividend, has a very low price to earnings ratio, and very decent solid earnings and sales growth with good estimates ahead. The technical picture is great off the February lows. A lot of open body bars, which means you open low and close higher. You can see a lot of accumulation bars, big tall green bars in the volume section. And also key is that this thing has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pocket pivot point buy signals this year to only one pocket pivot point sell signal since the very first day of the year. And on that signal, as you can see here, it was a very small intraday range. And just overall, it was a very positive action. You can basically call that an accumulation day. So there really hasn't been any pocket pivot point sell signals. You're only risking 3% if we're long, so it makes for a very nice long signal. So 5% of the account will be put into there. And now we have a stock that we have to review that absolutely is about as bad as it can get. DXPE was a new long position recently. It did not work out right away, so we began cutting losses immediately. The long signal was given on 429. It worked immediately, rising 3%, but then had a pretty big down day on 5.2 where it closed below the open of that day where we got the 3% gain, 110.01. And with earnings coming up, I wasn't having any of it. I initiated on the website a 50% sell signal, but whenever I went to go sell it, I started to think about how thin the stock was. I looked at the message boards, didn't like what I saw, so I sold everything but one share. That one share in my account represents 0.03% of my account capital. So I think I was only holding on to the one share just to see what would happen on earnings. But the truth is that the full sell signal was a close below this level, 105.09, and with it holding it, I was willing to go ahead and take that risk. But remember, the initial position was only 1%. It's the smallest long signal I've given since this most recent rally off the, since the downtrend started in the market, where the New York Stock Exchange and Dow Jones has been doing well since the April low. So this was the smallest long position. Gave half 50% sell signal already. I have one share left, but today was stunning. The stock closed down 40%, gapping down to 88, and then finally closing at 66. I can only laugh about it because the loss came out to be 0.01% of my total account capital, so it's meaningless. But still, this just goes to prove how dangerous it is purchasing securities in a non fully cooperating uptrending market. Once again, the NASDAQ and Russell 2000 still under sell signal, so you don't have everything under a buy signal. Very dangerous to buy stocks before earnings. Super thin stock, wasn't part of an industry group that was leading and had earnings coming up, and we had plenty of time for it to fail. It didn't give an ultimate failure before this. Still, if you think that, well, if would you have sold it the morning of the gap down? Most of the time, yes, but this time I don't think I would have, because it was down so much that I bet you I would have guaranteed that it bounced, and then as I would have watched it crash from 88 to 66, I'm pretty sure I would have stood there just with the deer in the headlights, because it's only one share. Like, I really give a shit. I can wait to see if it comes back or not, but it didn't, so it's gone. No harm, no foul. Bad trade, didn't affect the account at all, but still, hope nobody else was in it. But ENI, that is a solid signal. It's a safe signal. It's a very heavy volume signal, and it has good fundamentals, and it's liquid. Great technical pattern, great fundamentals. Uptrending Dow Jones Industrial Average and uptrending S&P 500 gives everything in confirmation for that signal. Thank you.